Welcome back to Module 6, Being Client Care. Until now, we have focused on presenting you with the skills to become a competent office administrator, providing you with the tools to complete the tasks required of you to the best of your ability. We will now proceed to client care and discuss the various phases of client care, as well as how to make your customers' experience of working with you both enjoyable and stress-free. This will go a long way to ensuring not only happy customers, but repeat business too. There are 4 phases to effective client services. These include courting, transfer of trust, dating, and afterglow. Now I know what you are thinking. Why are we not talking about dating when we are supposed to be discussing effective client services? It's simple really. There are some very interesting parallels between dating and service, and if we understand the one, we will understand how to make the other work. If we can learn to romance our clients, as a metaphor for the way we romance a potential love interest, then we are heading in the right direction to becoming effective client service champions. Every good date has 4 phases, namely courting, the initial meeting, transfer of trust, the exchange of important and sometimes personal information, date night, the actual date experience, and the afterglow, the feelings we carry from the entire experience. As you can see, these same 4 phases could apply to effective client services. Courting, the initial meeting with our client. Transfer of trust, the exchange of important and sometimes personal information by our clients when they talk to us. Date night, the actual service experience when what they promised, either by us personally or by our advertising. Afterglow, the feeling our client carries us as a result of the entire experience. Think about the expectations you have about a company when you visit them to order a product or engage a service. Let's explore the people versus service concept in a little more detail. It is important to understand that every client service experience has 2 elements, the people element and the service element. They invariably arrive as one package and are often perceived as one by the client. However, they are 2 distinct areas, each needing specialized attention in order to achieve client satisfaction. The people element is the area of client service that relates directly to what the person serving you says, does and communicates through their words, tone, body language and presentation. The service element relates directly to the specific service that you receive. This is an inanimate part of the client's service experience, such as the transfer of a property or legal advice. Let us now move on to courting. Courting refers to the initial meeting with our client. It relates to the first impression that they get when they meet us, and we engage them either through a face-to-face meeting or perhaps a marketing brochure. It is the start of our relationship, as if all goes well could lead to a long and prosperous marriage. As we go through the different phases, we will use an example of an attorney who owns his own small business. In this phase, our attorney could court the client initially through a professionally designed advert in a local newspaper. The client would then phone the company to set up an appointment, and finally the attorney and client could meet for a face-to-face meeting. All 3 of these interactions, the advertisement, the telephone call, and the face-to-face meeting, would constitute the courting phase of the client. What are the key factors in the courting phase? Well, first impressions are vital. People subconsciously make a decision within a few minutes of meeting a person, whether they will buy, literally or metaphorically, what the person has to offer. Whether this is true or not, it is certainly true that people make an assessment of you when they first meet you. And it is, from a business perspective, critical that this assessment is positive. The key areas to consider in order to make a positive first impression include your appearance. Ensure that you are neat, clean, and in line with business image. Your body language. Be positive and inviting. This may take practice, but focus on this as it is a skill. Finally, your tone of voice. Keep it warm and engaging.
Good afternoon.
Afternoon.
Mr. Banks.
That's correct. How are you doing?
Nice to meet you. I'm
Likewise.
Amanda Thurlington.
Hi Amanda, how are you?
Thanks for coming through.
My pleasure.
Can I offer you some tea or coffee or anything?
No, thank you. I'm good.
Okay, well, you wanted to know about our investment accounts.
Yes, I did, and I know exactly the one I wanted to. In fact, I went online last night.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's impressive.
Yeah.
Did you fill in all the documentation
I did.
online?
Did?
Okay, well, let's just get it up. It makes my job a lot easier.
I'm glad. You have a fantastic portal.
Thank you. Right, now, I've got some documents that I need you to sign, and I also need a copy of your ID book. Please.
I have that. Absolutely.
Great.
There you go.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And if you can just sign over here.
Mm.
Now, thank you so much for that. That's great. That was so quick and easy. What I'm going to do is send you a copy of everything via email. Is there anything else that you need to know? All my details are at the bottom of the information that you've just signed.
Absolutely. Your telephone number's there?
Yes, all the contact details here of the
Okay.
company, everything's at the bottom of the mail.
No, fantastic. No, it looks great. You got a good product. I'm happy I'm signing.
Thank you very much. There
Yeah.
you go.
Thank you
Very
very
nice
much, yeah.
meeting you, and thank you very much for coming in. I'll be in touch.
Sure.
Take care.
Yeah,
All the best.
thank you.
Bye,
Mm.
Mr. Banks.
Remember that it is of utmost importance to engage a client as soon as possible after they arrive at your place of business. Simple things like standing up, cutting a conversation with a colleague off, and stopping a social call are absolutes at this point. The key areas to consider when engaging with the client include your opening words, introduction and greeting, your ability to listen, important to get clarity of need, be honest, clients are not fools, and express your consideration. Attempt to see from the client's perspective.
Yeah, no, absolutely fantastic. Yep, look, I'll chat to you later. I've got a client coming. Yep, bye. Hi. Mr. Kingsley.
That's correct, yeah.
Hi, Joanne Lindley. Nice to meet you.
Joanne, yes, that's right. We spoke on the phone.
Yes, that's quite correct. You wanted cover for medical aid, is that right?
That's correct, specifically for my wife. She's got, unfortunately, a heart condition, and I need to know that I'm covered with your policy specifically. There's a couple of details we need to iron out there, if that's all right. Yeah.
Okay, absolutely. Do you need cover for her to see specialists as well?
I do, definitely.
Okay, fantastic. And do you have any dependents at all? Children at all?
I do. I've got a 12-year-old son, Michael.
A 12-year-old son,
Yeah.
fantastic.
Michael's
And
fantastic.
your health and his health, what's that like? You healthy?
We're in good health. We run together in the mornings, and I don't know whether that's pertinent to the form, but
Wow.
we're relatively healthy. You know?
Okay, great. Based on what you've told me, I think that this is going to be the best option for you. Let me just get it up here so you can have a look.
Okay.
Um,
This is all web-based.
yes, it is. Yes.
Okay. So
In
you
fact,
can send me forms by the net, or does
You-
it have to be document-driven?
no, absolutely. You can do everything online. Would you prefer to do that?
I would love to be able to do that. Absolutely, him.
Fantastic. Well, look,
My son Michael, as I told you about, he's so web savvy as well. He'll be able to help me through the whole process. It's
fantastic. He can help you. That's great.
Mm.
It's very user friendly, as you'll see when you get online.
Yeah.
Look, there's going to be a 3-month waiting period for
3
your
months?
wife. Yep, just initially because she's got the heart condition.
Okay.
But after that, she'll be 100% covered,
That's
not only for the
fantastic.
hospital, but for also the specialists on this plan. I'm going to need you to complete the questionnaire, so I'll email this through to you.
Okay.
And then once you've filled it in, send it back to me, and once I've got it back, I'll give you a ring, and then we take it from there.
All right. Premiums? That all the details on there.
Everything in the information will be there. Once you've filled out the application, I'll get the best policy for you and send it through to you.
You have been fantastic. Thank you very much.
Thank you
It was
very much.
great to
Thank
meet
you for coming in.
Thank
Nice
very much.
meeting you.
Yeah,
Take
pleasure.
care.
Bye.
Remember to be intentional when dealing with clients. They will notice your effort. Always make clients feel welcome, feel important, and feel comfortable. The transfer of trust. Transfer of trust refers to the process of winning the client over by indicating to them that you have their best interest at heart. This is done primarily by listening to them and responding appropriately in a way that clearly indicates to them that we are listening to them and not just selling or delivering our product or service to them. It is also important that a client feels that they are being taken seriously and, regardless of the number of questions asked, that the service professional is listening and is making the effort to bring clarity and understanding. In the example of an attorney, he would need to listen carefully to exactly what it is that the client is requiring. He would need to assure the client that he could deliver on the requirements and, if necessary, assure the client with references or educational qualifications. He could even add to this by suggesting a plan or action and offering possible outcomes which would reassure the client of his ability to deliver. It is common for clients to experience concerns after making a purchase decision. This arises from the concept that is known as cognitive dissonance. The client, having bought a product, may feel that an alternative would have been preferable. The transfer of trust that takes place at this stage will only happen if the client feels that he or she has made the right decision. This decision includes trusting that the promises made by the company or its representative at the point of contact will be fulfilled. The key factors in the transfer of trust phase include: firstly, removing anxiety, doubt, or reluctance. Often when a client is about to spend their money on a new product or engaging a service, they go through a phase of doubt or reluctance as to whether they are making the right decision. It is important to assure the client that they are making the right decision by removing any anxiety, doubt, or reluctance they may have about the product or service. You will only be able to do this if you are observing closely what your client is saying or doing. Listen and respond appropriately. It is important to really listen to a client and identify exactly what they are asking for. Never anticipate what you think the client wants, even if you are right, as this will only serve to annoy them. Let them tell you. It is important to remember, though, that regardless of what the client asks for, we still have to operate within the legal and ethical parameters as set out in our industry. Identify key factors or fears. Identify what the client wants or what he is unsure about, and then respond appropriately to that. Don't start discussing alternative products or financial procedures that the client doesn't even care about. This is a clear signal to the client that you are not willing to listen to them. Don't get distracted from the client. If you are easily distracted by other clients, other staff members, or the phone, it is a clear sign to the client that they are not your priority. Clients who don't feel that they are important to your company will go somewhere where they are made feel important. Finally, it is your responsibility to make every client feel understood, feel important, feel comfortable, feel like they made the right decision, and feel like they are going to receive good value for the money they will be spending. We can now move on to how to deal with difficult clients or disagreements with clients. One of the clear signs that the transfer of trust is breaking down is when a client becomes negative or difficult. Often their negativity or irritation is simply a cry for reassurance that they are making the right decision, that they will be getting the deliverable they want, or that the issue they are concerned about will be resolved. There is a simple 6-step process we can follow if we identify that the client is negative or difficult. Step 1. Focus your attention on the client and listen attentively. They need to see that they have your full attention.
Look, what I'm essentially interested in is, can you deliver on time with the right quantities? That's about it.
Yeah. Sorry, I'll just kill this, it's not important. But look, we can definitely deliver on time. The quantities aren't a problem at all, so don't worry about it. Do you have any other concerns?
No, I don't think so. As long as you can deliver quantity and time, we're good to go. All right?
No problem.
Fantastic.
Step 2. Don't get distracted by negative comments, by taking things personally. If they say, "This is the 5th time this document has been done wrong," Your focus should be on making sure it doesn't go wrong a sixth time, not on finding the 5 people responsible for the previous errors.
Look, I just don't know whether I can trust your company. This contract has been worked over 5 times, over and over and over again, and every time the same clause repeats itself. Why cannot it not be fixed, eh?
Mr. Granger, I am so sorry.
I requested this.
I know, and look, I've written down all your requirements now, and I'm personally going to take responsibility for this account. I'm going to deal with everything. You're going to be 100% satisfied by the time I finish going through this.
I appreciate that. And if you can get it right this time, then I'm happy to sign and to go ahead.
You have my assurances. I give you my word.
Are you sure, Mrs. Brink?
No problems this time. Honestly, leave it with me. I promise you I'll sort it out.
Step 3. Seek the key issue that needs to be addressed. In step 2's example, the key issue is that the document needs to be done correctly.
Look, the bottom line is, your stock arrived 4 hours late. I had to postpone the job I was working on, and I almost lost a customer from it. This is unacceptable. How can we maintain a relationship when I cannot depend on on your delivery times at least?
Yeah, look, you're right. You're right.
I know I'm right.
Look, I'm sorry. Look, we're not going to charge you for the stock. It will never happen again. I'll make sure, in fact, that next time your deliveries come in, they go out first. We will never have this problem again.
Well, that's a lot better. If we can work under that premise, then I'm happy to engage.
No problem. I'll get it all sorted out. It won't happen again, and you're first on my delivery list for next Tuesday.
Okay, fine. My customer was, at the end of the day, they were all right with me postponing the job. So it's all ending well. But as long as we can work under those terms, we can continue doing business here.
Most definitely. I won't let you down.
Okay.
Thanks.
All right.
Step 4. Clearly understand what has happened and what needs to be corrected. Again, in step 2's example, just taking the document from the client and filling it in again could lead to it being done wrong for the 6th time and potentially losing the client forever.
Look, the problem is in the wording. I will not be held liable for payment of stock if it hasn't been delivered on time. It says that there. What doesn't say that there, in fact.
Okay.
It needs to be stipulated in this contract.
I understand, sir. Your contract will be 100%. I'll personally take care of it myself.
Yeah, okay, I tell you what, I'll believe it when I see it. But I have got to get to the airport in an hour's time. My plane takes off.
Okay, I'll organise the contract. You'll have it by the end of the week.
Okay, fantastic.
Great. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Safe travels.
Step 5. Empathize with the client. Put yourself in their shoes, so to speak, and see it from their perspective. You are not agreeing with them. You are merely empathizing with how they feel. Again, in our previous example, it would be beneficial for you to say something like, I can understand your frustration at having to come back here again. I would also be upset if I had to complete this form 5 times.
If you don't get the contract right this time, I will go somewhere else.
Look, I'm sorry, sir, and you're right, and I understand your frustration, and I'd feel equally upset if I was you.
Really?
I assure you, this time you won't be disappointed again. I'll personally take care of it.
All right, very well. I will be here on Friday at 2 o'clock. Let's hope everything's been sorted out.
It'll be sorted by then, I assure you.
All right, okay, thank you.
Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you.
Finally, step 6. Explain to the client the process you will now be following to correct the problem. If that is the issue, or provide a clear solution if they have a concern. The comment made during point 5 can then be followed up immediately with a comment pertaining to this point. An example would be, I will now personally see to it that this matter is resolved. Here's my name and number. Call me if you have any further problems. I will in the meantime process this form and give you an update telephonically before 4 p.m. this afternoon.
Look, I just don't know whether I can continue doing business with a company that cannot get a simple contract right.
Yeah. Look, I know, and I'm very sorry about this. Look, here's my business card. I'm going to sort this out directly. My details are on there. If you have any other concerns or questions, call me and deal with me directly. I promise you I'll get this sorted out today.
Thank you, I will.
Thanks. I'll have everything documented by this afternoon. I'll give you a call once it's ready and I'll send it through to you. It'll definitely be done by end of business today.
Okay, no problem. Just get it sorted and I'll await your call.
Thanks, and I'm very sorry for any inconvenience caused.
No problem.
Now that you have a thorough understanding of how to deal with difficult clients, we can move on to date night. Date night refers to the actual experience, which has up to this point only been promised or implied. In the example of our attorney, it would refer to the actual completion and delivery of the contract. Are they everything he promised? Are they complete? Are they correct? Did we get what we asked for and did it live up to our expectation? The key factors in the date night phase include the following. Firstly, packaging and presentation. This is usually the responsibility of the marketing department. However, each person in the organization is responsible to make sure that every engagement with the client is in the line with the company's overall packaging and presentation. If your company delivers professional services, it is important that you not only dress professionally when you see clients, but that your behavior is professional as well. In simplistic terms, an auditor who arrives late and is sloppy in appearance may be perceived by the client to be a risk purely because on appearance and behavior, even if the quality of their work is good. Packaging and presentation are non-verbal signs that complete the picture or image that a client is forming of you and your company. If your company has a code of conduct for client relations, follow it, as it is part of the overall reinforcement of the company's promise. The reinforcing of company's promise. The literal or implied promise of the company must be reinforced by all actions during this phase. Don't assume that the client is fully satisfied with the company at this stage. Invariably, they are still in the process of making a judgment which will ultimately affect their ongoing relationship with the company. The promise of Standard Bank, for example, is simpler, better, faster. As a client, if you were always made to stand in long queues or your statements were consistently late, you would naturally question the Standard Bank's ability to fulfill that promise, and you may consider moving to another bank. The reinforcing of your company's image. It is important that we use any engagement with the client at this stage to either verbally or visually reinforce the overall image of the company. Nashua's promise is saving you time, saving you money, putting you first. If I were a Nashua representative meeting with an existing client, I may ask the question of how much money our new product has saved them. When they respond in a positive, I would remind them of our upfront promise. Be careful though if they tell you it had cost them money, as you would need to immediately address the situation and provide a solution. Finally, client satisfaction. You need to ensure that the client is satisfied with the delivery at this point before you conclude the interaction. Ask them if they are happy with the product or service as it is and address any questions or queries immediately. If you need to go away to find an answer, ensure that you set specific time parameters in which you will contact the client with the answer. You must never assume that by simply delivering we have achieved client satisfaction. Afterglow. Afterglow refers to the overall evaluation of the experience by the client, either consciously or subconsciously. Clients who evaluate the experience positively are more likely to return and, even more importantly, refer the company to their friends and acquaintances. In the example of our attorney, if he had completed the first 3 phases well, the client would be happy to continue the relationship and have him do the transfer of his new development. The client may even recommend the attorney to friends or business associates, which would ultimately lead to increased business for our attorney. Now, take some time to think about these statistics. On average, 50% of unhappy clients will never advise the company that they are unhappy. Of the 50% that do complain, only 5% will tell management. The balance of 45% will only complain to a frontline employee, who invariably will do very little about the complaint. This lulls management into thinking all is well. Between 54 and 70% of those clients that do complain will do business with the company again, only if their complaints is resolved to their satisfaction. However, if it is not resolved satisfactorily, only 90 to 46% will do business again with that organization. Of those clients who do not advise the company at all, only 10 to 37% will return to the business again. While we are discussing these fascinating statistics, did you know that it costs 6 times more to gain a new client than keep an existing one? Generally, the lowest paid employees are the ones who deal the most with the public. Quality service-based companies generally pick up market share at 3 times the rate of their competitors. And remember, without clients, there is no company. Long-term relationship management. When we speak about long-term relationship management, it is important to remember that this is a dynamic cycle. Each new interaction with our clients goes through the same cycle. However, as the relationship develops over a long term, less emphasis is perhaps placed on courting and transfer of trust, as the client invariably knows and trusts us because of previous interactions. We do need to be careful of complacency and becoming too familiar with our customers though. Consistent mediocrity will start to diminish the afterglow, and if we are in a competitive industry, our clients may start to look elsewhere for their service offerings. Even if we deliver in line with our clients' needs, they may feel after a while, if we stop courting them, as though we take them for granted. A competitor may come courting, making them feel important enough to consider changing service providers. When service providers are locked into long contracts, they know it is difficult for the client to get out, and they may then provide mediocre services as they feel complacent. In addition, due to the shortage of finance professions in South Africa, demand for these professionals is high, worsening the situation. Here is a list of certain factors that may be perceived by clients as complacency or taking them for granted. Changing pricing without advising clients. Lack of explanation when new products or new documentation are introduced. Making the assumption that the client will just adapt due to the fact that a relationship is already in place. Sending documentation through without any prior verbal contact. Assuming that due to the length of relationship, deadlines aren't adhered to and deliverables are submitted late. If the personal touch is important to the client, forgetting the important dates such as birthdays. Submitting work of a substandard quality because of a perception that the client will understand and can't go anywhere else. No longer asking your clients for their perspective in matters that may affect them. Being unavailable to clients and not returning phone calls timeously. Offering special concessions to new clients and not rewarding existing ones. We can now conclude this module by taking a brief look through the attorney's office and the Law Society. An attorney is not permitted to tout, directly or indirectly, for work of a kind commonly performed by a practicing attorney. without limiting the generality of that expression. Touting for work by a practicing attorney will include the following: soliciting custom or work directly from any person, entering into an agreement with any person, whether an employee or not, for the introduction of clients to the attorney. But this will not apply to any arrangement between an attorney and another attorney for the referral of work in the normal course of either practice, any arrangement for the introduction to an attorney of other attorneys with a view to they instructing him on an agency basis, making unsolicited visits or telephone calls, or sending unsolicited letters or printed materials or invitations to any person other than an existing professional connection, whom the attorney knows or should reasonably be expected to know has an existing attorney-client relationship with another attorney, where such conduct is carried out with a view to or is calculated to establishing an attorney-client or correspond relationship with such person. There are specific guidelines regarding marketing, and it is very important that you familiarize yourself with these. An attorney may display in his reception area brochures containing details about his practice and the nature of the services he offers. A brochure may not, however, contain information which is false in any respect, contain information which is misleading or deceptive, or which is likely to mislead or deceive, contain material which is vulgar, sensational, or otherwise would bring or be likely to bring the attorney or the legal profession into disrepute, claim or imply superiority for the attorney over any other attorneys, contain any testimonials or endorsements concerning the attorney, or refer to any of its clients by name or in other manner which will make them identifiable. Such brochures may be sent or made available to existing or former clients, except former clients whom the practitioner should reasonably know are not likely to return to him as clients. The brochures may include guidance on how clients can assist the firm to deal properly with their business, for example, by completing a questionnaire. A prospective client who asks for information about the firm may be sent or given a brochure. The brochure may contain an offer to give an estimate of charges in relation to any proposed mandate. That brings us to the end of module covering client care. Please complete your short assessment on the platform now.